Good morning. Welcome to the show, also known as the morning show.
Are you okay?
As soon as it came out of my mouth, I thought, that doesn't roll off the tongue well.
Do you need like
morning, welcome to the morning show.
Like a
it's
Michael
the
Scott
morning
moment where it's like you have to have 2 runs.
Yeah. Hey,
okay.
We'll be right back.
Not that you're,
I'm just kidding.
Not that you're Michael Scott. No, I was just saying.
I always tell people that if you never want, what was it, that run-on sentence? He said, I don't even know where I'm going.
Yeah. Oh, man.
It's in my office because you put it in there. That's hilarious.
I did. I put a bunch of motivational quotes by his favorite people, but then in the middle, in the largest frame,
was the Michael Scott.
Don't ever, for any reason,
there it is.
Anything, for any, it just made no sense.
Ever.
Yeah, ever.
And then it's a run on. He's just rambling.
It's what he called an improvisation.
Improvisation,
yes.
yeah, because I love it.
Improv.
But anyways, I gotta work on that opener because man, it ain't. What do y'all think? How should we open the show? Huh? Because I can't say morning. Welcome to the morning show. It's the morning. I don't even know if we'll call it the morning show anymore.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
What was it on that Disney? I'll say hi.
Yeah.
Fox and the Hound.
Yeah.
Wasn't that Fox and the Hound? Yeah.
Oh, God.
I saw that on a TikTok back in the day. What should I say? I'll say hi.
I actually used
sis?
that on a Vine. Don't judge me. I'm trying to.
What is this?
I'm trying to lower my coffee intake.
Look. Just so you understand this is what we got for the girls. Anna and Adley both have one just like this.
I know, and yours next to it looks
this
hilarious.
Is mine. Of course, apparently this is a bowl, so I guess it doesn't count.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Listen, let me tell you why this is like this. And I genuinely, I'm a few sips into this. And I have to say, I'm going to buy a bigger version of this. Because
Do you like that?
It keeps my coffee really hot. And I'm funny about that.
You are very funny about it.
So, yeah.
I don't like those because I think it overheats it.
Oh, you're one of those.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, and then, okay, you can't put that in the microwave, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's why I have it.
Why would you if it keeps it hot?
But it's too hot. It's
Then
too
why
hot.
would you put it in the microwave?
That's my point.
What?
That you can't. But you wouldn't have to if you had that. But it kind of, I don't know. I don't like the taste of burnt coffee. You know what I'm saying? Like that last cup that's been on the burner.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, it's it's still good. No, they were over roasted.
Yeah.
Over roasted. Don't know why I'm going Minnesota. Over roasted.
I don't need my coffee well done.
Don't you know you don't do that to coffee?
But I will say I was going to pour you one in the same cup so we would match today.
You should have done that. It'd been
I
adorable.
I actually took it out and poured it into the bowl. Do you know why? You would have loudly sipped on this coffee the entire time.
That's not a factual statement.
Yes.
It's an assumed reality.
Yeah. Yeah. Kayla's laughing at us. I said, you're one of those.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I am. Listen, okay? I don't... Like, a thermos? No.
Get a medium or blonde blend. Ooh.
We're dark people.
We are.
Like that dark roast. That actually has the least amount of caffeine.
Yeah, it's very true. Espresso roast. Matter of fact, I was reading...
Not the blonde espresso, the dark espresso.
Yes.
Because there is a difference.
We were reading about Not we. Sorry, you weren't
No,
present.
I was.
It was
I was
me.
not. Well, when you're married,
was me.
you actually have one mind,
It's
and
true. That's
you
why,
know.
you're like, we're having a baby, and then people sometimes they're like, no, they're not. But I said it too.
Well, hey, I'll be honest with you. I thought we were having a baby. Was it yesterday or the day before?
Did you? I never
You
thought that.
you kind of alluded.
I had to go to the doctor, and I guess I could just say this now in case anybody. There was a few people that knew what was going on, so I didn't have anything. I'm all good, but I
She had a
had
concern.
yeah, I had a concern. I had some issues in my kind of side stomach area,
Yo.
and so he before he could do a CT scan, he had to make sure I wasn't pregnant. So I had to do a pregnancy test, which is funny because I knew in my heart that I was not pregnant, but something about taking that test and waiting on those results, I was like,
Well, as she's telling me this, I'm kind of like, are you about to tell me we're pregnant? Is that where, are we going there? Is this is what's going,
it would have never been that casual. It would have just never, it would have just been.
Well,
I'd
last
probably
time I
been
showed
in
up and
full
people
shock.
were video recording me. So
It's true. I would have been in full shock, like full on shock. I mean, granted, we feel that we're done having babies. If I found out we were having babies, I wouldn't be like,
oh yeah, no, this
it'd
would not be like
great
a
thing,
oh god, it would be
but-
like, whoa, we're
Yeah.
having a baby.
Yeah, but we're not, so we don't even have to hypothetically go there. But anyways, and also, the CT scan was fine. So, but it's kind of creepy when you're like. Here's the thing: it's almost worse. It's not worse than the news, depending on the situation. But
Like the
Waiting.
news, like the actual like televised
when
news.
you're waiting on a result.
Oh, okay.
It's the waiting that just eats at you, because I think you live out any possible scenario in your mind, and so yeah, that was. But it gave me a great opportunity to put to practice some things that I say as mottos for life, and so it worked. It worked. I was able
Who
to,
knew?
it's
Who
just,
knew that
yeah.
my own advice would work? Incredible.
She did tell me though. They called me. Everything's fine. Good news. If it keeps happening, contact us. Maybe it's like a gastro issue or something. And so just nothing like
gastro no.
life-threatening. And so I'm like, that's great. Well then, like an hour later, they call me back, and I'm like, oh God, please don't be an accident.
Got it wrong.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It was the wrong file. Oh man.
Hey, on that note, it's interesting you said that about fear.
Billy said
you're
every
a
time
fear.
my levels get checked, I get terrified. Yes, it's
Yeah.
a real thing. Yeah.
So interesting thing about fear that I've heard and now I'm processing. So I'm going to process out loud with you all. Fear and anxiety have a distinction, and it's whether or not it is rooted in facts. So, for instance, if at our door is a bear, why in Mount Juliet, I don't know. Well, it is the Mount Juliet Bears.
Last year, idiot.
Last year, idiot. Was there a bear in Mount
This is the
Juliet?
Office reference morning
Yeah, we're
show
feeling good
today.
about that. But all that being said, if a bear, I have reason to be fearful because, powerful beast could just break down the door, gobble, gobble, gobble. That's a turkey. But anyways, anxiety is feeling fear about a bear potentially being at my door.
Oh yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Does it make sense?
It does.
Like, that was like,
It's hypothetics.
yeah, the hypothetical. But here's how the person that said that, he equated it to saying, imagine getting in your car in the driveway and revving the engine
Yeah.
and doing that for 8 hours a day.
Why?
Exactly. Why? Why? You're wearing out your engine. You're not going anywhere.
Oh, I see what
You're
you mean.
stuck.
Just, yeah. Makes sense.
Just not even spinning wheels.
Funny enough, the thought of that invoked
That's
fear for
anxiety.
me, because I was like, if you're sitting there revving your engine, what if like the park stops working, and if it does, you run into my shop. So
Because it's all about me.
Did
Me
you
and
know-
mine.
Did you know? Okay, so I have to share this
Yeah.
with everybody. I've not even told you about this.
Oh, wow.
Last night
Fantastic.
we were at Mom and Dad's for
New information.
Yeah, we were having dinner at Mom and Dad's, and I had just sat down. McKendra was there, and she goes, "You know where Jason is?" And I said, "Yeah, he's out watering the plants and stuff because it gets so hot. We have to water the plants in the evenings, or else they're already. It's bad. I mean, it's so hot here." And so I said, "Yeah, he's out there watering the plants, and then he'll be over." She just chuckled. She went, I said, "What?" She went, "Y'all are just so funny. You're in the garage working, and he's out there watering the plants." I got so tickled. You're in the garage working, he's out there watering the plants.
In my house shoes.
She's in my robe.
Oh my gosh.
Waving at the neighbors.
Oh my goodness. We got to do something about this.
I don't know why that struck me
Dude,
as
that's
funny,
funny.
as it did, but man.
That is really funny.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. Martinez is here in the house. How you doing, sir?
Muted. Are you muted?
You're like, muted.
Muted.
Are you muted?
Muted.
I'm
You may be muted.
giving you my best stuff. Like, wire it up.
Only Malachi is privy to these words.
Lightning don't strike twice in the same place. I
Yeah,
got nothing.
yeah.
I got nothing right now. I got nothing.
Oh, that's great.
But no, yeah, having a good Thursday, thrilling Thursday.
Thrilling?
What do you call it in this Thursday?
I like
is there
that.
names for it?
I like Thrilling Thursday.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, thrilling Thursday.
Uh-huh.
Malachi's asleep. I probably shouldn't mention his name because he might just wake up.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I tell you what, I've been under the weather for the last 3 days, and it's been kind of challenging to like keep the baby away and then at the same time take care of them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then like I don't even have the energy to entertain them. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
the first thing I thought about is like, what if I had to do this every day? Like as a single parent. And I'm like,
yeah.
nah, bro, I'm not the one. So
Yeah.
I salute all the single parents out there, all the mothers of 1, 2, 3 kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that do like have to take care of their child when they don't feel like it, like when they're like ill. I mean, I don't mind. Like even if I don't feel like it, at least I have the strength to do it. You know what I mean? But like now I've kind of just nasal congestion, headache, stomach ache, whatever. But anyway, I'm on the back end of it all. But I'm like, my goodness.
Yeah, it's awful. I think of that about that too. And in fact, on Father's Day, I try to make it a point. People that I know, I try to wish all of my single moms a happy Father's Day. Because let's be
I know,
honest,
right?
and a happy Mother's Day because they do it all, you know.
Yeah.
And it's nuts. I know the times that he's working late or something, and I'm getting the kids in the bed alone. Just that process is so tiring by yourself, you know.
Challenging.
You gotta catch them. You know, they don't like
Gotta
them.
catch- like Pokemon?
Yeah, you don't
Gotta
like
catch 'em
it
all.
It is like Pokemon. You have to catch them to brush their teeth and you know, put them in the bath. Actually,
Right.
Adley Bray is at the bath, butt naked, ready to go. She loves taking a bath.
Loves
Like
baths.
I will say, let's go take a bath, and we're in the kitchen. And by the time I get up to the bathroom, she's at the bathroom. She has ripped every article of clothes off, and she's just waiting. She's just like, let's go.
Let's
like
go.
I'm ready to go. I'm gonna cannonball into this water. Here we go. But yeah.
Wow.
She loves it.
Yeah,
She absolutely
definitely
loves it.
respect to the single mom, especially the ones that. And this happens on the daily. This is so many people out there, single parents in school, on the grind, doing what they're doing.
It's tough.
Man, and they're making it happen. They're making it happen. There's this
Right.
girl I follow in
Yeah,
woodworking that's doing that. She's a
Yeah, like
woodworker
some
with
of
a
them
kid.
are like, some of them are like going to law school and stuff like that, graduating with,
Yeah.
you know, running for office. I'm like, what the freak? Are you kidding me?
But you know,
Like,
I've
I don't know.
noticed a lot of successful people have that backstory.
Well,
You know, like
I do.
they see their mom busting tail, or even their dad. Like if you have a divorced family and so you have to kind of split it up. I've heard that story too. Just seeing each one of them on their on their grind.
Well, they say in management, if you want something done, give it to the busiest person.
There you go. There ain't no busier person. Multiple kids, single parent.
You know, they do it. You know, I know we're kind of ranty this morning, but
It takes the mom's habits to keep things going. There you go.
Yeah, no, I agree. But man, I'm feeling good. I'm loving this community that I'm a part of.
Kayla, it's
we got some
Thursday.
comments.
You're welcome. She thought it was Friday.
I thought it was Friday. Oh,
Dude,
okay.
Monday or Tuesday, I woke up and I was so disoriented waking up that I didn't know what day it was, where I was. Have you ever done that where you slept so deep that you woke up and you're like, what am I? Am I human or am I a dog? Like, I don't even know what I am. Where do I live? It's, oh my God, it was a weird feeling. Move the mic close. Our sound man says move the mic closer.
Well, if Lucian says it, we do it.
Yes.
Hey, on a total side note, yesterday I had a funny moment that got even funnier after I talked it over with you. So I yesterday went to drink my coffee during the show, and when I went to, match the cup to my lips,
Gotta get to the place where we can play these clips.
like it just fell out of my mouth.
Yeah. Well,
like
you missed your mouth, right?
Like yeah, it was just like I was literally just pouring coffee into my lap, and I was like, I'm tickled, but I'm very
Confused.
How did that even happen? So me and Brittany are talking about it last night.
Well, I played it back.
Yeah,
we were in the bed and I played it back.
We're just
Let's
laughing.
watch this. It's funny.
Well, come to find out, there's a very good reason why I did that yesterday. In the middle of the show, I did not notice that Brittany had filled up my coffee cup for me, which is a sweet thing.
Topped it off.
But my expectation of how much volume was in my cup was way off. So I'm, I know right now I can tip about well, it was already full. So when I went to do that, it was just like the overflow.
Yeah.
Just started
everywhere.
pouring. And I got so tickled at that. I thought,
right?
you're the culprit.
It was me. Yeah. Just get up a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Doctors use that as, a sign of health. Your ability to bring your hand to your mouth, or follow your, it's kind of like using your eyes to follow your.
Is that like hand-eye coordination?
When you, we probably take it for granted. That you could take your cup and bring it to your mouth and drink. But some people, they'll miss it every time. They'll hit their chin, they'll hit their face. They can't. Someone needs to do that for them. And it's like some type of, so I mean, sometimes it's a sign of stroke or whatever when you can't do it, your brain function's not working right. So thankfully it was just your cup being topped off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Billy says, thank God for the overflow. Woo.
Hey, that'll preach. God will give you the overflow, and not only will he give it, he'll put it in your lap. Come on, somebody say amen. Oh my God.
Press down, shaking together. I used to
staining all over.
I used to say when I was little, shaking down, pressed together, and boiling over.
Boy, because his blessings are hot.
They're hot.
They're hot.
Fire.
You can't hold them blessings.
Holy Ghost fire.
Oh my gosh.
Man. So,
all right.
Habits, hacks, and routines.
Habits, hacks, and routines.
You know what? Because this week was you. So to your creative brain.
Here's to you.
Yeah, I definitely have to admit that's 3 points. That's hard to memorize what you're doing, but the way it flows, it's memorable.
Is it?
Habits, hacks, and routines.
Habits, hacks, and routines.
How many would want an ebook from Jason that says
on habits,
hacks, and routines?
Text us right now, 615-908-3067. I threw Brittany a loop that day. So we have a texting number. that we've just not really publicized. But I thought I'll
He
just
didn't
throw it
even
out there.
publicize it to me.
And so she was like, when she heard 615 and the 9, that's as much as you're getting out of this household. The girl went on camera, like she went deer in headlights, like,
I thought
what
he was
are you
giving her
doing?
numbers.
What are you doing? Billy said, but wait, there's more.
There's more.
Uh-huh. That's
For
funny.
$19.99,
Yeah.
you'll get, if you order in the next few minutes, you get a free copy.
You'll get your complimentary cup, aka that also doubles as a bowl.
Yeah.
It's 2 in 1, people.
To improve your habits, hacks, and routines.
It also tests your eye-hand coordination.
landing
See
site
there?
for the show.
Man, we're
You
just
know,
developing
That's
things.
a great question, Kayla. Do we have a landing site for the show? We should.
We should.
The answer is no. But the answer is maybe later. We don't know.
Dual answer.
Dual
Yes.
answered.
The answer is, do you think we should? Should this be? I do think its own social media would be nice, because then we can post all of these funny little clips.
And that's where we can also promote the I Don't Give a Rat's Fart t-shirt.
yes.
Did you, Martinez, did you catch on to that comment
I'm
last
so mad
night
at the
during Bible
comments
study?
No, I was listening to Bible study, but I didn't. What,
So Mark Henderson, Mark, where are you at, bro? Where are you at? So
Tag Mark.
he literally, he was on the Bible stream, and we were talking about how to make the church better. And Mark's,
and I do remember Pastor saying something like, "We got to pray for you." Or something like that.
he put in the comment, I think rat farts would improve the church. And so I started laughing. He was so confused, but I was laughing, and he was like, and I kind of explained it to him, and he was like, "Oh, okay." There it is, the
There it
rat
is.
fart emojis.
The rat fart emojis.
I want that shirt.
Hey, so like I was just thinking, like I'm thinking about Malachi, and I said to myself, what habits would be beneficial to put in him early, so that it'll fall on for the rest of his life.
Wow.
You know, and I was just thinking, like you know, maybe just having a strong work ethic. You know, like always being active or something, being productive. Because,
Yeah.
like, you know, there's nothing sorrier and shameful than an adult who got, particularly 100%, particularly a male adult or of age, that doesn't like have a job or keep a job. You know what I mean? Like, I've never seen. I've seen several people who are in relationships with men who can't, like, they're always out of a job or having an excuse that why things are so hard. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever experienced any guy like that where it's just, hey, they're married or they got a significant other or a kid, and they're never. Now, listen, take heed lest you fall. I'm not being prideful, you know.
I know. You always have to add the disclaimers.
That is the disclaimer of this show. Okay, now take heed. Take heed now.
Yeah.
Make haste and take heed now.
Yeah.
Okay? Martinez, I love you, bro. You're the best.
Take heed lest you fall. But, like, man, I was just like, the world is not a kind place to people who don't pull their own weight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, you just gotta, I know he's at 6 months, but about 8 months, 10 months, I gotta teach him how to rake the grass or something like that. Work for his bottle, so to speak. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The rat fart shirts, I don't think Kayla knew about, and she's flipping out right now. She's like, we need some before camp.
Like, we need the rat fart shirts. To your point, Martinez, you're exactly right. The world, the truth is, the world, in the sense of not in the adversity of the world, isn't kindly designed in that regard. But the truth is, God has set it up in such a way that is the way it is. In other words, simple answer. Consider the ant. Consider the ant.
That's sluggard.
Not a sluggard. Not a slug. Because they slow. Anyways, the ant.
They also are not salty.
And they are not. Ooh. But the whole idea is you can't break principles that God put in place. God's blessings upon your life are manufactured through the principles that he gave you to live by. Work was not a post-fallen punishment. Work is the duty of a man
Not optional.
and a woman.
I was getting tickled. You said duty. I am very childish today.
Duties. Duties.
Anyways.
But seriously, he gave mankind the garden to take care of it.
Yeah.
That work is a great thing. And I'm not saying a grind. I'm not saying
Ooh, what's the difference?
A grind is when you
Because in the 90s it meant something totally different.
and you better only be doing it with your spouse now. All right.
People be changing words on us, and I'm
don't
like,
make that your calling card.
That was a hit song, bro. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what.
So in
Anyways.
reference to hard work, right? That's kind of
Grinding is working contrary. Martinez. We're dying over. We're having the most thrilling Thursday that anyone could ever imagine.
Oh my God.
it's because we're people that have been on the planet long enough.
Long enough to see
know-
words hijacked.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm on my grind.
Excuse me? Listen, I will.
You better not be. Better put a ring on it.
When was it? Was it 10 years ago? Was it 10 years ago? Maybe less than 10 years ago. It was
I don't
less
know.
than 10 years ago. We had a young person come in. I'll never forget the first time I started hearing these kids. I'm just on my grind. And I was like, what?
Pardon?
You're what?
Should we talk in the office for
We're
a
talking
moment?
about this in student class right now. Like, what is? And they had to explain to me, no, Brittany, no, it doesn't mean that anymore. And then also, low key doesn't mean low key anymore. It means kind of. I'm like,
Yeah.
Right.
oh gosh.
Yeah. It's
Anyways,
always
yeah.
changing.
So when we are
Your
referencing
grind-
the G-rated grind.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when we talk about, the hustle and the grind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
You are literally, in my opinion, trying to overcome / work contrary to your being.
So like I'm in a job I hate, but I'm working hard.
I'll give
at
you the example that I heard. Okay, this
I'm
is
about to
when I heard this, I was like, that's the principle. A tree was created to be a tree, correct?
Yeah.
Do you see a tree, quote, hustling and grinding? Somebody's grinding, yeah.
That's called a wood chipper.
Oh, I love you. I should make sure I preface these things first.
Have you seen a tree on the grind? Yeah. It's a wood chipper.
Oh my God.
Anyways,
That's the best.
No, I have never seen a tree
Oh.
hustling.
That is the best.
I'm gonna branch out here and say
Oh,
I've never seen a tree.
branching out.
So, anyways,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I wanted so
the
bad
best.
to agree with you, but it was in my head.
Well, as soon as it came out of my mouth and I looked, I'm like, God.
Yeah.
I've been taken.
But to your point, though, you're right. Yes.
The point
yeah.
is, okay, the flower, right? The flower is just going to be the flower.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there is no hustle, and You are just doing what you have been created to do.
But that doesn't mean you're lazy, like you're growing.
No, there is growth. There is activity.
Yeah.
There is, in my regards, there is worship because it is responding to its created call.
Yeah.
So when you are in the hustle and the grind and you're like, dude, I got to get this done. I got to, oh, but I hate doing this so bad. Like, blah. I ain't saying you ain't going to work. I'm just simply saying if you hate it that bad, you might need to reassess what you're doing.
So you're saying.
So you've got to learn how to work out of your being.
What's the opposite of that then? Of grind?
Flow.
Nice.
A river
A tree
flows.
hustling. Want to buy some acorns?
Oh my God, that's the best. A tree hustling said, hey man, you want to buy some acorns? Oh my gosh. Siri, I ain't talking to you. Dude, that's the best.
Billy just said, hey, this is a tree hustling. Psst, hey, want to buy some acorns? You don't see trees doing that, man.
Oh, man.
But
Hey,
to that,
stay away from them. They're shady.
just leave them alone.
Oh man. Oh dude.
Leave them alone,
It's
man.
Punny Thursday.
To your point, though, even though that's not what a tree does, right? Obviously, a tree still grows and, dare I say, possesses territory.
Can I tell you?
Like expands territory. So
Can I tell you one of my favorite things that Jim Rohn ever taught me?
yeah,
Okay. You ready for this?
sure.
People are like, hey, why is it that we're different than everything else, human beings? Okay. The reason we are different is because we have the dignity of choice. Okay. I hear the children. Let me explain this, going back to the tree analogy. Mm-hmm. How tall will a tree grow?
Are you asking?
Absolutely. How tall will a tree grow? This is very philosophical, so don't get tactical. A tree will grow
Depends on where it's planted.
as large as it can.
Yeah.
In other words, a tree does not have a choice not to fulfill its potential. It merely responds and does what it's created to do. You and I have the dignity to choose exactly how much of our potential we will fulfill.
Yeah. But yeah, to that so to that point with the grind.
With the grind, I think you're working contrary to what you've actually been designed to do and be.
That's a great question to evaluate what you're doing in life right now. That's not to say go quit your job, but it is to ask yourself, is this what you
Good.
Sorry, our
The
kid.
2-year-old just went, Mommy!
Meatloaf.
Yeah.
Are you where you want to be? Like evaluating that. Because I'm gonna tell you this is a little left field of habits, hacks, and
Oh, there's a
routines.
reason. There's a reason
However,
behind this. Absolutely.
Who would want a routine that you're not flourishing in? You know what I mean? Who wants to build a habit of unhappiness? Nobody. Like that's, and then to Martinez's question earlier, because I liked his question. What are the habits we could instill in our kids? I think that when you live out loud, I think you teach more than you could ever teach just by having a conversation with them about something. Not that that's not important too, but when you live out loud in front of them. So like if you're in a deadbeat job and you are busting tail, barely making ends meet, and you're not wanting to live, in your full potential, what are you showing your kids? That's your habit forming self. What are you teaching your kids in terms of habits? This is how people that struggle with alcohol addiction, their kids then, have witnessed that, and then they kind of have to battle that themselves. And personally, I'm a firm believer in generational curses on a spiritual level, and I also think that those kinds of things can be transferred because you've lived it in front of them, and you've allowed that enemy in your home, and now your kids will, they're going to inevitably have to kick it out of their home when it tries to intrude. So, yeah, thinking for yourself, doing things for yourself to make you feel the best version of you for your family, I feel like is a great way to instill good habits in your kids too. That's just a way to answer the question.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
To that, and it's funny you asked that question. That's why I remembered it. We were talking about kids.
I'll go get her.
Okay, we were talking about kids last night, our kids, and just kind of me wanting to shift some things around. You know, when you got kids, you got all kinds of toys, right? Like you're going to get any kind of toy if it flashes, if it excites them, if they have a little twinkle in their eye, their grandparents are going to buy it for them. You know, and so are you. And so, you know, these kids are kind of overran with toys. And I told Jason, we're at the point now where I'm wanting to do a purge, you know, obviously just purge the toys, get rid of them, not all of them, but, you know, all the things that they're just not playing with. But I want more. I said, look, I have spent their life up until this point just allowing them to be. And I think that's important. Just let them be kids, obviously. And I've just kind of let them go, let them be when it comes to play and that kind of thing. But they're at this place in their life now where I really would love to create an environment that kind of causes what they call deep play. I've been looking into deep play. And so, like, for instance, you know, these electronic toys, it's just kind of shallow toys, you know? You got a toy that lights up with the ABCs. I'm not knocking it, but all it does is the ABCs. So their brains are going to tire out real quick. You know, it's like, okay, it lit up, ABCs, bleh, you know, and kind of put it aside. But like a baby doll is deep play. That's deep play because what's that baby doll's name? Who's that baby doll's parents? What's that baby's favorite food? When does that baby nap? Where does that baby nap? You know, it's like it opens up all of this deep play. And then they say that kind of having those things around your kids, it kind of helps their creativity. It allows them to be creative and to imagine. And so for me, I'm like, I want to create an environment for my kids that really inspires deep play because I want them to imagine things. I want them to be creative and those kinds of things. So in a way, I want to create their environment so that they can form creative, like the habit of being creative and imagining and that kind of thing. And that starts young. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to be perfect at it. You know, our playrooms get wrecked up, you know, real quick. But just keeping a little bit of order and also being intentional about what they have in their lives, I really think that's a great way to inspire imagination. And on top of that, how can I inspire imagination if I'm not being creative and imagining my future in a positive way? You know, all these kind of coincide.
I like that. I love that. I mean, when you were talking, I was just thinking, is there a deep play, you know, equivalent for boys? Like the baby dolls are great, but I don't want to give Malachi freaking baby dolls.
Well, you know, I think too for guys, for boys, it's going to be like an action figure, a stuffed animal, you know, these kinds of things that inspire anything that could have a story built around it. You know what I mean? Even like, you know, even a certain, a gender neutral thing I've always liked is like a kitchen. Or they make the kitchen sets, the grill sets, that kind of stuff. It inspires deep play because it's like, what am I gonna do here at this station, you know? Or even like the sand and water stations where you sit, you know, and you've got this, you can build. That's why I like the blocks. Those magnetic blocks are really popular. Just regular wooden blocks. It inspires deep. What will I build? You know, like what will I kind of form? And I've noticed firsthand when my kids have toys that require a backstory or thought, they are far more entertained than anything VTech has ever come out with. You know, it just seems like, even if it's a screen, right? Like even if it's a screen that has multiple things going, I do feel like those toys inspire more than even that, because just you know.
You want to we're trying to get your kid into the habit of deep playing, deep thinking, habit of creativity, habit of uncovering and just being themselves. I like that. I like that. I was just trying to bring it back to what we're talking about. You know what, too? Separately, I just started thinking about it last night a little bit, like as far as habits, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know, your habits can be so well and so good that you actually take it for granted that you have good habits that people don't have. And I said to myself, well, I consider it a good habit, but like stuff like, because I've never drank alcohol, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've never, I will leave this earth not ever having tasted gin, rum, beer, whatever those drinks are out there,
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there are people out there that cannot go through a day without, drinking, like social drinking, having something to wind them down or whatever and that kind of stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, interesting, like, whatever excuses that people use for drinking. Oh, it makes me open up more so that I can talk. It's a good nightcap. Oh, it gets me started or whatever. And I'm thinking, your mind is a very powerful thing to justify any habit use to help, make your day better, because like I, and likely you all as well, don't need like a nightcap to go to sleep or, to get you started in the day. You know what I mean? And so it's like, and it's not just alcohol. It could be like, oh, I need a good cigarette or whatever, not to beat down on other people. But like, the thing about it is those things, because they're eliminated in our life, we will never know the train wreck associated with them as it relates to causing, trauma to our families or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's like, what a good habit to have.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a habit built without consequence. Like, I didn't have to learn the hard way kind of habit. I kept it.
Yeah. It's like there's no negative ramifications as a result of eliminating that habit from your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was talking about what things to teach your children early so that they can carry on through them for the rest of their life. Raise a child in the way that they should go, and when they grow old, they shall not depart. Well, we never had alcohol in our house. We never had cigarettes. We never had like these vices associated,
Yeah.
And not to say that is a surefire insulator for not ever having to come across that in your life if you don't have them in your family, because God knows, like, things can be introduced to you throughout any season of your life. But what helps is, my mom, there's no other family member that was privy to that kind of behavior, that appetite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, it's one thing to teach a child a good habit such as work ethic, but it's also another thing to teach them a habit that they don't need whatever man-made product or service to actually get them to be social or get them to sleep or get them to, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, I guess maybe the habit of self-reliance without addictions. I don't know what I'm talking about, but like, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah. No, I instilling, but it makes me want to dive deeper in the fact that when it comes to your kids and when it comes to instilling things in your kids, right? That makes me ask the question, why do people drink? You know, why?
Why
I know, that's what I thought.
Hank?
Why? Yeah, exactly. Why is it that people have an alcohol problem? And so before we get to the alcohol in and of itself, you know, like or the alcohol problem, what leads to it, right? And I know that there are some answers that we will never know, but I feel confident in more often than not when people have an alcohol problem, it's because they're not happy with their reality when they're sober. And so I want to teach my kids the habit of sobriety, you know, of being sober, right? But before I teach that, I want to help my kids with the habit of finding joy and finding happiness. Because a happy person doesn't have a reason to check out, you know. And I'm not saying that you're going to feel happy all the time, right? That's would be under that umbrella of the prosperity gospel that has hijacked prosperity is negative. But I do want to teach them that who they are is enough, right? That their differences are what makes them beautiful. And that you can find joy in any season, no matter what. Because joy is a God-given gift, and when you focus on your relationship with God, when you focus on trusting in God, and not carry the weight that He's meant to carry, you're going to have joy. You're going to find a way to smile at some point. Those kinds of things, I feel like, inevitably, those conversations keep us from having the harder issues. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? I have found more often than not, anytime I have ever thought about, you know, turning to something to check out, you know, I remember all the things I'm taught about God, about being grounded, about being, you know, and it keeps me from that desire, you know? So.
What you're teaching them joy, teaching them how their differences are beautiful. Maybe this illustration works for the point that we're talking about. Hopefully it does. But I've heard it said that bankers, you know, are taught as it relates to counterfeit money. They're not taught like, okay, fill this counterfeit, fill this counterfeit, fill this counterfeit. How you recognize counterfeit money? They don't introduce them to counterfeit money. They rather than that, they actually teach them what authentic money feels like what real money feels like. Mm-hmm. And so if they understand the authenticity of the dollar, of the money, then it will be easy to recognize what a counterfeit is.
Yeah.
And so the thing about it is, as it relates to children and choices, and even adults, if we can recognize what authentic life, authentic joy, authentic love, authentic friendship, fellowship, authentic camaraderie, then, you know, once they understand that, then they can recognize counterfeit a mile away. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the counterfeit a mile away is someone saying, hey, just take this and you'll feel happy. Just do this and you'll be accepted.
Yeah.
Just, you know, as they say on the Game of Thrones, bend the knee and you'll be accepted. You'll have your alliance, you know, that kind of stuff. And so like that's the thing, like what's so kind of confusing is that in this world there is so much claiming to have the joys of life, the happiness of life. This is exactly what you need. That people are creating routines and choices pursuing those, those joyful, or I shouldn't say joyful, because can be joyful pursuits following the world, but like people are creating routines and habits, making choice that, accept this, buy that. I need to go on a vacation to have the getaway. No, once you go on vacation, you get there, you're still there. I mean, like you'll be there, so you're not getting away from you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like how do you teach people to be in the now? And that is what's important, as far as creating authenticity of life. I can't pronounce that word, but that showing our kids authentic life, authentic relationships, and then let the rest carry itself.
Yeah, and that's keeping the main thing too. I think in terms of our kids, we work very hard, especially you. I mean, your type of work leads you out of the home a lot, right? Like you work hard. But as hard as he works, he's also working very hard to be present in the kids' lives, be home so it's a delicate balance, but to that point, finding out, because I mean, like I said, I believe in generational curses. I believe in those things. However, I do believe that we're all unique individuals that have our unique struggles. And I think the way that you can kind of help your kids is to know your kids, to know you can start to discern things that they're susceptible to. And you can do that quite young. And so for me, I feel like you have a great opportunity to instill positive habits that combat those issues very young, Anna tends to, and every kid kind of goes through this, but she tends to be very emotionally driven. She's very reactive. A lot of girls are, especially at her age. But I want to teach her to kind of not be reactive, but just kind of chill out with her feelings a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's go. And I even tell her a lot of times, I'll say, do you need to go sit with your feelings? Kind of remove yourself from the situation and sit with your feelings, and let's evaluate how you feel. I can't go that deep in thought with a 4-year-old, but I'll just leave it at, do you need to go sit with your feelings? Go sit with your feelings, and until you calm down, we're not going to talk about it. You're going to sit with your feelings, and then when you can have an honest, we can have a conversation, then we'll talk. That's different than timeout. That's your free will. However you want to. If you're in timeout, don't you get your butt up, like you're gonna get in trouble. But just little things like that, because I know that she is susceptible to reacting, and then when she reacts, inevitably you're gonna get in trouble if you react based on anger, because you're not thinking smart here. So I would like to start young the habit of walking away and kind of finding your neutral before you have the situation. So that's just me trying to discern my kid, right? I think she gets that from you.
Absolutely.
But you do a great job at that, though. You have a reactive, I get angry, right? Like I get, but you don't.
Do you want me to speak into this?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, to your point, like me witnessing it, you don't respond anger. You do a great job at keeping that. So I'm trying to teach her things from my side, and then you do too, to help her become more like her dad. You know?
So because she's like me in that,
Yeah.
that means I can't help her if I can't help myself.
Boom.
Because you teach what you know, you replicate who you are.
Yeah.
So if I'm the person that only knows how to react,
Yeah.
I could tell her all day, that's not what you do.
Mm-hmm.
But Dad, you do it.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. You're right. But that doesn't make it right. But I tell you what, it makes it that much more difficult for them. Just thinking out loud, how could I hold her to a standard that I have not met?
Yeah. Yeah, you're exactly right.
So the principle of replication is I'm not going to help my kids by just telling them and lecturing them and like I'll tell you this. Knowledge is prevalent. Mm-hmm. You can learn anything in this world right now in any moment. So if knowledge was the answer, our problems would be solved. Mm. Knowledge is not your problem. It's a part of the solution, but it's not the solution. Replication requires first you become before you
knowledge
duplicate.
Without action is nothing, right? That's what you're saying. It takes action.
Action is even a part of it. But action, I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of people that are doing, and to that whole point of like, you know, I'm doing this to overcome. Okay, I'll give you a great example. Okay, the reason that trainers stay in business is because they can train you on what to do.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah. Trainers can tell you, hey, this is what you should do. Mm-hmm. And if you'll do this, you'll have a result. Okay. And people will do that long enough until they get tired of doing, and then they stop having, and then they're back exactly where they used to be. So even doing in itself is not the complete package. Mm.
That's great. And that goes back to our perpetual theme in every single morning. And that is, it starts with you.
Who?
You. It starts with yourself. You know, you want to instill great habits in your kids, then live great habits in front of them. You know, you want to have good routines for your kids, then live good routines for them. You know, if you're tired of a chaotic morning with your kids, trying to get them to school, trying to do this and that, and you're fussing and you're screaming and you're fighting, how about start with you don't be the one fussing and screaming and fighting? You know, like, you set the pace always, right? In anything, if you're the adult in the home, you set the pace. If you are an adult living in a home with another adult, work on your communication with each other so the both of you can set the pace. Kind of both of you communicate the type of environment you want your home to be, and that inevitably, you know, will help your kids. We're not going to get it right. We're not going to get it perfect at all. But I also think instilling in your kids the understanding that we're all human, that is a beautiful thing. And in order to do that, that's being honest with your kids. Don't have a power trip with your kids. Leadership, not power trip. So for me, if I was frustrated more one day, which is totally, that happens, and I do this very often. If I've had more of a frustrating day, if I've been more, you know, if I've been quick to anger or whatever, I'm going to apologize to my kids. Hey, mommy was really stressed today, and I'm really sorry about that. Like, I didn't mean to be so stressed. I didn't mean to sound so angry. You know, I love you, and, you know, I'm not mad. I was just really stressed. You know, and I think that's, you're showing your kids that you're human. These are things that if you're going to instill anything in them, instill these things. Those are foundational things, right? That's instilling grace. That's instilling consistency. That's, you know, instilling a positive work ethic. You can build on that. And obviously the first and foremost, you know, is where you put God, right? So yeah, I think that this was an interesting turn for the day, but a very important turn. Let's see here. We have some comments. A good question is, what is my trigger? Well, that is a good question. I think we were talking about the different things that kind of affect you. Like when we were talking about alcohol addiction and things like that, kind of a way to get to your issue and find what's the thing that shifts me. That's very good. You may not have happiness all the time, but if you have God's peace and joy, you won't look for external limitations. I agree. Let's see here. I'm going to tell you something. We're going to have to get another ring light because I can't wear my glasses on here. And I'm to the point now. I'm like full squint city. Yeah. Talking about now, I'm assuming this is when Martinez was talking about alcohol, because Billy and Kaylee got to talking about coffee. They were talking about coffee. You know, to that point too, though. I do ask myself very often: do I need coffee? And if I do, is that something I need to evaluate?
Take heed.
Take heed.
Take heed.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something about man-made substances. I remember when I was like 13 years old, and when I loved Coca-Cola, I drank it in the morning and I drank it at night, and I got to a place where I'm like, man, I drink this all the time. Is this overtaking me? And it freaked me out so bad that for the next 2 years that I never drank a Coca-Cola. And so I said to myself, I never want to give any man-made substance power over me, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't binge Netflix, I don't, that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like they have that self-will thing. But man, it could be food, it could be anything, it could be, I said alcohol, but the only reason why I said alcohol because it's so
prevalent,
it's so universally accepted.
It is,
you know what I mean?
And it's a large issue, Unfortunately, it's a large issue in the Christian community, and across the board, it's a hot topic button. It's a little, but yeah, and you're right. Cigarettes, but also at the same time, sweets, sugary,
sassy,
fat and sassy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like there's, exactly. These are things that are issues. But getting that out of your life, a habit of being present, sober, clear, that sometimes it's that. Sometimes that's your habit you have to form. I have to quit drinking. I have to quit, I have to deal with these addictions first. I have to, I have to face the fact that, I'm struggling with pornography, and I have to develop a habit of not struggling with, you know what I mean? Like that. Sometimes those are the hard conversations that you have to have, in order to be the best version of you, because those are things that will keep you from being better. By the way, random plug, but, thepornprognosis.com is a great resource for things like that. If you know somebody that maybe struggles with that, or maybe you know somebody that knows somebody, or you're asking for a friend, that's a great resource for that. Random plug. Thepornprognosis.com. Yeah.
Porn.
The porn. PORN.
I was like, corn prognosis?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's a great, I don't know why I randomly felt that I needed to share that. But if there's any new people on here that maybe you're struggling, first off, it's okay. A lot of people struggle with that. You're not alone. And there are resources for you. And this is from a doctor, a good friend of ours, goes to our church, that talks about the health side effects of a porn addiction.
Yeah, right now there's a big, whether you have a Bible-centered view of the world or not, he does a really good job by saying, hey, look, we're going to talk about that. I'm going to share that with you, but let me just tell you a very logical thing that's going on.
Yeah.
You're actually receiving you are developing the equivalent of brain damage because of pornography. Yeah. The equivalent. Wow. Like legit, your brain on cocaine and your brain addicted to porn is the exact same brain.
Wow. I've had the opportunity to share. I made a sign that has his logo on it, the Porn Prognosis. And it was a gift just because I really, I really appreciate what he's doing. Mm-hmm. I have seen pornography, not that it hasn't hit our home, but I've seen so many homes destroyed from that. Yeah. And I've also seen so many homes restored because of the the things that Dr. Brad is teaching, and that's just a beautiful thing for me. And so I wanted to make a sign for his logo, so when he does certain Zoom calls where he's talking to ministers about this, like, hey, you can promote it, because I believed in it, and I would love to be able to promote it on my channels. And I've already had the opportunity to share his resource with a complete stranger that commented, hey, I want to know this resource. And that's just so great, because I think that's, what a great opportunity to better yourself. You don't have to feel trapped by addiction and things like that. So, yeah, random plug.
That's not a random plug. I think it's very fitting, because when it comes to pornography, when it comes to addictions or whatever of any type, what it comes down to is you giving your energy to things or vices that are detracting from the best of you.
Yeah.
And at the base level, it's making a choice in an ongoing habit to do those things.
Yeah.
And and the powers that be don't really care how they can suffocate your unbridled opportunity that God has put in your life.
Mm-hmm.
The powers that be could care less how they chokehold your dreams.
Yeah.
Whatever distraction they can put out there is what they want to. Whatever works for you, that's what they want. But they want you to get into a habit.
Yeah.
They want you to make that first choice and make it routine in your life, and before you know it, you're on this dark rabbit hole going nowhere. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it is, it's come to this where you have to have pornprognosis.com, kind of like nets out there to catch people.
Yeah.
You have to have conversations like this that to help people recognize the power of choice, the power of starting one habit.
Yeah.
For the good or the bad. You know what I mean?
I think porn prognosis is a hack. That's a hack that needs to be shared to instill a positive habit. Well, to combat a negative habit is what it is. To overcome a negative habit. These are hacks. Which that'd be kind of cool. Tomorrow maybe we could share some resources that are hacks.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, some hacks to help, positive resources to help instill positive habits, but we'll also share some hacks to help break negative habits, because you can't talk about habits without talking about positive and negatives. Mm-hmm. So, and that'll be across the board. Like we'll do that. We'll do our homework.
Yeah, and this might be a little bit out there, but I know we've talked a lot about habits, as it relates to conscious habits, tangible habits you can see. But what about the unconscious habits?
Yeah.
The unconscious habits you can't see that perhaps we teach ourselves, our children, and parents have taught us as a result of just the choices they make. For example, I forget what Jason said altogether, but something about replicas or whatever. What did you say, Jason? Replicate.
You teach what you know, but you replicate who you are.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so thinking about that, replicate who you are. So is it possible that through my parental, my mom, my bringing up, my development, that my mom has accepted things in her life where I've unconsciously have accepted, and they become a habit for me. And maybe that's the difference between, someone who is an employee all their life, versus someone who employs someone all their life. It's like take who you are. Well, I'm a worker. I'm an employee. You know, I'm just a single mom. You know, I take what the government gives me. You know, and so, you know, you haven't said that verbally, but but you acted out on a day to day, and subconsciously that gets embedded in you, and that spirit, you know, is taught to those around you. So, if that makes sense, so it's like unconscious habits that I think are probably the more like, you know, the things that, you know, hey, my family was, you know, or, you know, I not that this has an issue with me, but like, you know, my mom was married to a physical abuser. So, you know, then there's, you know, talking about those generational curses. You know, those generational curses are perhaps those are the result of subconscious habits, you know, that are kind of like indoctrinated into your DNA.
And that's the kind of stuff I think that the Word of God can weed out. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of stuff that having a habit of devotional prayer, you know, Word of God in your life, that's the, you know, like we get Cook's Pest Control comes out and sprays for all the things we can't see. Word of God is like your pest control. It sprays. You know, we're going to do a treatment that's inside the walls. It's the things you can't see, you know, and it's going to kill out all the things you can't see before it becomes a problem that you inevitably see. So yeah, like I think it's just a healthy balance of those things are amazing.
So like, yeah, and that's
I'm gonna
like,
have to. We have somebody outside.
Who's this?
You're gonna. It's my mom.
Oh, okay. I was like, is there like a
You wanna go ahead and?
neighbor or something?
No, we're good. Love everybody. Tomorrow.
Fantastic. All right, I tell you what, folks. We are. Ooh, yeah, we're 15 after. But great conversations. What a thrilling Thursday this is and is going to be. Right. I know for me, as far as a good habit, showing up to this show is a good habit for me. It's a great habit because I get to hang out with you all, and I get to move forward with a better day, and I appreciate that. So we're going to be back tomorrow talking about some hacks. By the way, if you've got some great hacks that you want to share, bring them tomorrow. Whether it's books, quotes, courses, whatever it is, I want you to bring them, and we'll share because we care. But anyways, have a great Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time.